now you may be able to see how a coach could push that off as like a standard type of diet, just like as a beginner type of diet. But with the difference in carbs and calories and stuff like that, that's not that's not really effective to make the results what you want them to be. And then now you know that.
I was actually surprised when you first told me that I'm supposed to include 9 different vegetables in my diet on daily basis. I had to struggle to find out different 9 vegetables. And when we spoke about what vegetables are there in the market that we can use, because not everything is available in India, and we had to ensure that whatever 9 we can gather, we should be able to.
That's something that's specific to me, because my philosophy is that if you're going to cook your own food, okay, and you're going to do this seriously, you're not going to rely on all shakes and products like that, then really you're not just becoming a greater physique or bodybuilder or whatever. You also should be becoming a greater cook.
Yep.
A chef and a cook. Because every time you make your food, you want it to taste better, not worse. So you'll find ways of using those 9 vegetables to make your food taste incredible each time, and it should taste good. And how was that with you?
Absolutely. We tweaked around so much with the food. Me and my girl, we did so much together. She helped me a lot in preparing the meals initially, because I was just not able to handle this amount of food in the initial period, because 6 meals a day was like too much for me to handle.
I remember. So it was a shock to you. You were like, this is a lot of food.
And yeah, it was a lot of food.
Of course, from my side of it, I was trying to explain to you that this is actually the normal for this, for what you want to do. And we had to take you from literally like eating twice a day, I think it was.
No, I was having thrice a day. So
yeah, 3 times a day to this. You're doubling your food and doing it without getting you bloated, doing it without causing indigestion problems. And we did that in like a week or 2, didn't we?
Yeah, we took almost 2 weeks for that.
And let's talk about some of the things that we used to help you.
We used hemp seeds. That was one thing which we included. So I'm going to talk about the components. We use the flax seed, we use the hemp seed, and we use the maca root powder. Mm-hmm. And that was recommended to have with each meal, mm-hmm. so that the digestion for the food can be maintained. I was also told to include 1 lime, half of it in AM and half of it in PM. So I was using 1 big lime, which we were using, so that I have ample of vitamin C in my diet as well.
With no sugar.
With no sugar, exactly.
Right.
And primarily we were keeping the carbs intake higher after the workout to ensure that the glycogen levels can be maintained. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So see, now I know that there is something called glycogen level.
I'm very proud of you, because you're saying it like I would.
So just stop me if I go wrong somewhere, because I wouldn't know everything, So we were ensuring that the carb intake is higher after the workout, along with any fruit, that is apple, that's what we were having, or the berries, so that vitamin C can be replenished in the body.
Right.
Of course, apart from the meat choices that you were giving me, we talked about the lean beef, we talked about the chicken breast, we talked about the salmon in the diet. These are the few meat choices that I was given. I was also given the choice of pork tenderloin, but that has to be very lean. So, I ensured that all these meats are included in the diet at different intervals, so that I don't get bored with the food at the same time, and we can enjoy the meals as well.
And I also made it important that you get the highest quality, meaning that try your best to not get GMO, genetically modified, that they feed the animal, the wrong type of feed, No,
I was buying all the organic or the corn-fed food, so it was.
I explained to you why, because before you weren't, and now you were, and did you understand, like clearly why it makes a difference?
Absolutely. You even specified about the reverse osmosis water. You told me that whether I should have the RO water or not. So we even spoke about my intake of what kind of water I'm having. So it was a very detailed discussion that we always have had.
Did you feel like you got most of it, like the best part of it, from the phone calls or from the email exchanges or from WhatsApp?
I guess if we had a culmination of all these three aspects of communication in place, when I had smaller doubts, I was WhatsApping you, you were replying me immediately. Whenever I had a doubt, I was writing long mails after our discussions, and you were giving me the brief up of whatever discussion we have had. And thereafter, we had the weekly calls, the video calls or the phone calls, which was very elaborative. So they have taken care of everything from the very beginning.
Besides what you've accomplished, as far as accomplishing your goal, um, how do you think your knowledge has gone? One being like, I didn't learn anything; it was all cookie cutter, like the other coach, and 10 being, I feel like I can actually help people now. Where do you think I've left you? We're not done, and we started from zero, so I want people to know that.
Uh, I would say that I have achieved 5 on 10. I guess the next 5 would be reaching the Vegas next year.
You're very critical of yourself too. A lot of people don't know that you're. I mean, probably comes with your profession in law, that you're extremely critical, of what you do. And this was all new to you. This was not something like you were thinking that you could achieve. When we show the pictures up there, I think.
No, I mean, absolutely. This was, as I told you earlier, that, I was not, while we started the process, I was thinking that, yes, we are going to achieve, but with the passage of time, I was losing the hope because, it was getting difficult for me, but you helped me sail through it. You explained how the diet will work. You explained how exercising is going to happen. And of course, in the initial period, it was really difficult because, the body was not used to a lot of things.
That's right.
So it took time for the body to, assimilate itself.
Do you feel like as if, the weekly pictures that you took, that, we took those, that I took those pictures and was able to tell you specifically what to improve on?
Yes, absolutely. We talked about the workouts, that how we are going to bifurcate our workouts. We started with the chest tricep combo and back bicep, shoulders and hamstrings. Later on, we divided the shoulders separately. We divided the quads and the hamstrings separately because you observed that my hammies are weaker. So we took the hammies to a different day altogether.
Right.
And we followed that protocol.
I think that the paying attention to the, just even 1 week, the difference to try to really made, in my opinion, made a difference in your physique being complete. Looking correct.
It completely changed the whole physical dimensions, I would say. Especially, I would like to make a note about the depletion that you told me to do. When I did that depletion, my body came out really well.
Before you say that, because I want to talk about that, I definitely want to talk about that because I want people to know that, what you did. But there was a period of time before the depletion that we were running quite a few compounds. Okay, I mean, I told you, I said we're gonna do quite a few at once. If you have any health problems or feel anything, let me know right away. You said you were fine, but you said it's not working. Things aren't working like they were before. And I said, you know what? I know. And I started telling you to take out this, take out that, take out this, take out that, lower this, lower that. And you were, at that point you were a little concerned. You were like, but the wedding's coming up. I mean, everything's coming up. Don't I need to do more? And I just want you to tell people about that, because really, really people make the worst mistake by, even I have in my past. That's why I taught you not to.
Yeah, we spoke about this. We had a long call on this regard when we talked about reducing the compounds and going to the minimalistic. Because uh, as I was apprised by you that having a lot of them will only worsen the situation. And you also talked about from the scientific perspective that why we should not have so many compounds in the system. And you gave me a very elaborative understanding that why we are reducing the compounds. So we actually reduced to the same point from where we started it off. So we were having the very basics, the primo, we were having mastron, and that also 1 cc every alternate day. So we were sticking around with the basic compounds throughout.
Low doses too.
Absolutely low doses. I mean, we were having 1 cc every alternate day, which was consistent, in fact.
And
And we
side effects?
none, none, not at all, not even single side effect.
And again, this is not to promote this stuff. It's just to talk about how close a coach can work with a client so that he can avoid all the negative side effects, whether they be from the diet or whether they be from the substances. It doesn't matter, even if it's from the shakes, whatever. Because, I mean, let's talk about that too. I pretty much took you off of all the supplements.
I was only having a scoop of protein.
Right.
That's it. A scoop of protein shake, and that's it. That was post workout, and that was the only thing which I was on.
And everything
in terms of supplementation.
Perfectly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. My only worry when we started the gear was that I might get pimples on the body or acne, because that's what I read online.
I actually told you. I said that happens to me when I start and when I stop. That happens to me.
Yeah, I was really worried about that, but luckily for me, that did not occur at all. I mean, I did not have even a single eruption anywhere in my body.
I know, it was amazing. I don't want everybody to think that it's the same with their, but I do believe that paying close attention to someone. I think you call them limes, we call them lemons, whatever. Limes, lemons, the same thing. Putting citric acid in your diet, which bodybuilders don't do. Making sure your water is alkaline. It's all these things that you can do so that you don't have pimples and stuff like that. I'll admit that when I get them, it's because I eat something that I shouldn't, or ibuprofen kind of does it to me also. But either way, as far as, helping you, I'm so glad that you actually know now, what this whole thing does, and you feel comfortable with it. You know that, it wasn't dangerous.
True. In fact, in the initial phase, I was feeling thirsty throughout the night. I was parched, because the body was consuming a lot of it was burning a lot of calories. It was eating and burning the calories, and I felt that I'm parched throughout the night. I was waking up after every 10 minutes to drink gallops of water. So we also discussed about this factor, and you told me how can we change this, and how can we add multivitamins in the diet, and how can we keep you less parched at night.
Right. And you want to tell them what you did?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I started having those. I started having the multivitamins. I also had the probiotics, and it helped me. I did not feel parched after that at all.
No. I mean, again, this is something that we were fortunate to be able to try, and we were very successful. But the key is your coach going to be able to talk to you 4 times the first week to get this stuff right? And I think that's where the line draws. You get on a contract, you're going to get one call. Maybe honestly, most coaches don't even speak to you. And I think that's the problem, is because it's so, like, they have a name, and I get a lot of emails too. You just want to work with so-and-so or so-and-so. Well, at the end of the day, you have to really, really understand what they do. I like to work with people like you who start from scratch. That way, the results that you get are clearly from the program and nothing else. You know what I mean? Now let's talk about the last week or so, and the fact that you didn't cramp. That's a big one. That's another big one, because we did use diuretics. And I know it's not her show, but listen, guys, let's not be judgmental, man. It was his show. His show was his wedding. So that's what we came into this with, and I'll let him tell you about.
So we were having gear every alternate day. We were having on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I was having Mastron 1cc, T-Prop half cc, T-Sip half cc, which we reduced to 1/4 of a cc because we wanted to. That's what we went on.
Right.
We also had Tren acetate 1cc, which we removed later on because that was just not needed. We stuck to the.
You felt better. You felt better when you got.
Absolutely. I was in a much better shape with each tweak we did. I was getting better. There was not even a single tweak that happened which led to a downfall or to a different situation.
I got to be honest with you. That it happens because of years of experience, but you're an exceptional case because you communicated with me so that you did your job, and if you do your job, then it makes it so that I can make you have a flawless program.
I so agree on that front because even my girl, she was telling me that the coaches all around the world they really want somebody, some serious coaches like you. They really want people that they should come to them, and they should explain their problem. However, people just don't come up with the issues. They feel reluctant about it.
Yeah.
So I never felt reluctant, and in fact, you made me feel comfortable every time. I never felt that I'm speaking with a coach because each time we had a call, it was on a very friendly note, and it was not even once that I felt.
The time was usually like right before bed, or for me, or for you.
Absolutely, it was, but we sailed through it because we were talking to each other. We were able to sail through. We were able to manage the time for each other. We had a great understanding on the time management.
I know this is redundant, but I want people to understand this. A lot of coaches, when you pay them, they're great in the beginning, but then they kind of they're not so great towards the end. How about you? How did it work with us?
Well, we are still talking after starting in May, so I guess that explains quite a lot.
Needless to say, though, you felt like everything was proper.
It was very much in order. Not even a single call was there, which was.
Do you feel like the investment, because it is more money than most people charge? Do you feel like it was worth it? How do you rate it?
I don't think that's a lot of money, to be honest.
Listen, maybe you might be doing better off, but if
I'm generally saying that for the bodybuilding, I feel that this amount was just worth it. It's an investment, and it's an investment in the long run, and it helps you in sustaining not only a good physique, it also provides you the knowledge base. It opens up a lot of avenues for yourself, in terms of reaching a peak in your life, in terms of physique.
Exactly. Let's talk about the last week in the dialing in and how that worked for you.
So in the last week, we switched on to the Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and we moved on to the Winstrol because I had to, get rid of the water. I had to get a little more shredded. That's what we discussed in the last week.
We removed several things.
Yeah, we removed, but we were having Winstrol at the end, not till the very end, but we had for the second last week.
Right.
So that's when we removed all the stuff. All the gear was removed from the last week. Right. So we spoke about having oral Winstrol as well as the injectable Winstrol. You specified that how am I supposed to have it on the shoulder? I was really scared of that.
Let's discuss that. I basically taught you how to take it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I also watched your videos where you have taught people that how one is supposed to take the Winstrol on the shoulder,
which people get access to for free when they get your level.
People like me who have paid the fees, so they have an easy access to all the online stuff. It's I mean, it's a great bundle of information that can be found, you know, which is very knowledgeable.
We're actually, I'm in the process of making it better. The website's going to be much more improved. I'm going to have a couple other services on there too for people that can't afford, the higher stuff. But this is all as a result of, just trial and error, and also having more time now. I have more time now. So yeah, let's talk about how we peaked you with the diuretics and with the potassium and the sodium and all that.
To be honest, I don't really recollect because it was so much of information stored in the system.
Look, we're not giving everybody the blueprint, but the best you can to your ability, and the fact, how confident you felt when taking this stuff. Like were you ever in doubt?
So in the last, at the end, we started having four things that I would like to make an emphasis on. We had Winstrol, we had Provironum, we had Primo Oral, and we had Anavar.
So
and
it's over here. It's referred to as Primo. So just so people know what they're saying, it's Primo Oral.
Okay, Primo Oral. So I was having Winstrol, Provironum, Primo Oral, and I was having Anavar. The way we divided Anavar was quite interesting for me to understand, because we were having Anavar 20 mg with first, third, and fifth meal. Now, I was quite inquisitive to know that why are we having this breakup? Why aren't we going in the first go itself? Because it helps me in just having it in one go and get done with it. So you apprised me that why is it important and how it's going to help me.
And how'd you feel?
Well, the results have come out, and I really feel great. I mean, there is no doubt in it. I mean, everything was placed so well that I couldn't ask for more.
You're actually on the PCT phase. You've been off for everything for a while right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And still, even at this point, has there been any issues?
No, we discussed about this. A little bit of muscle loss is definitely there because you have gone off the gear. That is there. I have slimmed down a little. I have lost a kilo of weight, 1.5 kilos or so. But except for that, I'm really in a great shape. I can lift the same weights.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm able to lift the same weights, and in fact, my strength has gone up. I'm able to do better squats. I'm able to do better bench press now. So it makes a lot of difference. Like my strength has increased tremendously.
So your strength is increased because you have the water from taking the diuretics, and you did go very low carb. You want to tell them how we did go low carb up until like the week before, and then I put in carbs here and there, and then
we were not on low carbs. We were on zero carbs.
We were on zero carbs. Yeah.
So we went on.
How did it work for you? How did it work?
It actually worked really well, because when we infused the carbs on just a day before the photo shoot,
right,
the body saw a tremendous change. I felt really full, in terms of muscle mass. I could see the veins popping out thoroughly. I'm telling you in a very layman language because that's how I can explain.
No, it's fine. That's how the people just want to hear the truth. That's all.
I saw the veins popping out.
Did I teach you good about the salt and the no salt? And
yeah.
Can you tell them?
Yes, absolutely. I had to increase my salt intake so that I don't get the cramps. And that was for a week. We increased the intake. We were having almost a tablespoon of salt for the day, but divided in different parts. So it was more sprinkling over all the meal.
Which for you was several times more than what you had been doing.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally not having salt at all in my diet. I don't know why I was doing that to myself. I had a different understanding about the salt, so.
It is something hard to understand because it's totally opposite of what you've been taught the whole time. But you build this trust, and then it works. It worked out really good. So how did it work out with you adding the salt and going to zero carbs and the higher reps? Don't forget, we did higher reps too.
Yeah, as far as the the physique was concerned, I was feeling really full. In terms of muscle mass, my veins were popping out. My strength had gone up. Despite of being on zero carbs, I was still having the same strength. In fact, I was able to lift better. And towards the last 4 days of the training, we went on the depletion mode, where we were depleting the muscle continuously, doing high number of reps for exercises. And I guess it worked really well for me. And it opened up it gave me a lot of mental strength to do the weightlifting.
Absolutely.
Because going for 60 reps in a go is not what I have done ever in my life.
Really burns, and it's not different. It's not like that. You got to really fight through the burning.
I mean, in India, the bodybuilding culture is coming up in a great way, but people saw me in the gym doing this kind of bizarre exercise, and they were actually observing that what this guy is up to, because I ended up doing 600 reps of legs. I mean, something which is impossible for me.
Now, we had one call where you said that, because I asked you, I said, well, what are the people saying? Is anybody asking you? I remember this. I'm going to say this, but you can also say it if I say it incorrectly. You said, I don't want anybody else to get a hold of you now. Because I've never looked this good in the gym, and I just want this moment right now until after I leave, because you're moving to Australia, right? So you wanted to have
this. People do ask me in the gym that, what are you doing? I mean, you have come a long way. I mean, from within 5 months, you have come a really long way. Could you please tell us what you are up to and what you are having? So I tell them that I have a coach who is very special to me, and he takes care of it. So people are very inquisitive about who is my coach. They think he's somebody from around, but they really don't know.
I never asked you to promote me, did I?
No, never. That has never happened. We have always been very professional about discussions. We have talked very professionally about each aspect of bodybuilding, and you never asked me to promote yourself ever.
Did you feel comfortable with doing your first injection with me?
I actually was. I mean, I didn't feel. I was a little scared.
I know.
Because pinning is something that I had not done ever in my life.
Yeah, you cross a different line. Once you do that, you don't go backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I started with the butt cheek actually. I learned about it through you, and it helped me a lot. I mean, I got a lot of confidence in injecting the right way. Of course, I did go wrong once or twice, because when I hit the nerve, I was down. We discussed about it, and you told me that this is how it's going to happen, because I was not able to understand that what situation I am in.
Right.
I was not able to get off the bed. And I explained to you that, I don't know what happened to me. All of a sudden, I was like almost paralyzed for 3 days because I hit the nerve. But you told me that this is...
Did I coach you through that? Good.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. That when we spoke about this, you told me exactly what has happened to my body. You even told me my symptoms without me telling you that what exactly has happened to me. And that's when I got the comfort that, yes, I'll be all right, because I was feeling that this is the doomsday for me, and I'm not going to get up. But you taught me through, and we sailed through it very easily.
Well, I was fortunate enough to have something like that happen to me, so I knew exactly what was going on. I really think years of experience, not just, I don't think just, you could be good at yourself. That doesn't mean that you can be good with someone else, but years of experience of working with different people and different situations allow, one to know the answer to questions like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised because you knew exactly all the symptoms that I was having without me telling even once. So it was like step by step, you told me that what I'm supposed to do, and how it's going to be recovered. It might take a week's time. It may take 3 days. It took me exactly 4 days to get off the bed because I hit the wrong nerve.
Yeah. And so, and now, of course, you feel comfortable going back in. You know what not to do. Did the videos help?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw the video on for the injectables on the shoulder. I watched that
Backloading.
video several times.
Did you
I
see the
watched that
backloading
video.
one? The
Yeah,
backloading.
yeah, the backloading. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. I was going to talk about the backloading.
Yeah,
I
please.
understood the backloading. I tried it. I mean, I experimented it with the water first,
For sure.
which we were using for the growth hormone.
Yep.
Uh, I tried the backloading with the water and the insulin needle as well. So it helped me in understanding that how am I supposed to do it. So it was a trial which really worked for us.
Let's tell everybody what you started at and what you finished with, and then I'll put the pictures up.
I started at 74 kilos. I ended up at 80 with a lot of muscle mass.
And you
But now
lost.
I'm back to,
And you
yeah,
lost a lot of
I
fat.
have lost,
A lot of
I have
fat.
lost, of course, I have lost almost all the fat possible. You know,
So you lost a considerable amount of fat, which we'll show. We didn't do anything dangerous like BNP or anything like that. You do nothing.
I don't even know what's that.
I know you don't even want to. But for the most part, other than when you had that bad, that nerve reaction from the spot, everything was continually improving. Correct?
Absolutely. There was in fact, when I went to Australia for a very short span of time, we had a very quick call where you told me that since I'm going to go off the gear for 10 days,
That's right.
what exactly I'm supposed to have so that I can replenish myself for those 10 days without actually having any gear. So we had Decadurabolin just before I left,
Mhm.
and we had the Primo and the Mastron, and that's it. So he told me that you don't need to worry about.
It was Mastrone E.
I'm sorry?
It was Mastrone E. It was the long-acting Mastrone.
Yeah, it was the Mastron, the long-acting one.
Yeah, so everything we took was long-acting, and it basically sustained you until you got back. And there were also times where I told you just take a little break, or take, we're going to switch from this to this. Let's cut back off that.
Yeah, we did that as well. When we were completely off for a couple of days,
Yeah.
and that's when I had nothing because I was not having anything without your consent.
Right.
So, and you were paying a lot of attention.
Just so you know, I mean, when they go in a cycle, they don't do like mini breaks. And I think mini breaks are very, very helpful because not only do they bring the tolerance down, but they also, really allow your liver to reach. I mean, even 2 days is enough to get back to normal, So that's kind of like one of the things that I do that at this point right now, other coaches aren't doing it. But after this hits, I'm sure I know about 5 that are going to start doing videos on this right away.
I'm sure. I guess everything worked for me really well. Especially with the abdominal part. I really want to pay emphasis on that. I had a lot of fat around my abdominal area.
Tell the people anything you want to tell them, because this is your chance to tell them about what you felt about the program.
It was more of an abdominal fat that I was worried about. That's where my whole idea of having a coach came from, that I did not want fat in my body, especially occurring around the stomach area. I just did not. Nobody likes it, in fact. So the way I was told the exercises by you, we started with the giant sets. We are still continuing the giant sets. So we were doing 4 giant sets.
If it works, don't break it.
Yeah, I mean, when we started this off, I was only able to do 10 reps and 3 giant sets.
Right.
All right. So that included the leg raises, the crunches, and the hip thrust. Mm-hmm. So the hip thrust, leg raises, and the crunches is 1 set, and we were supposed to repeat it 4 times.
Hip thrust,
maximum.
No, a vertical hip thrust, and you asked me about that because you didn't know what they were, and then I explained it to you. I showed you really quickly exactly what I want you to do. Because the name doesn't quite explain. Hip thrusts now are what people put the bar over their front part, and they thrust up with their hips. So it's totally not. We're doing it for abdominals. It's a vertical hip thrust. It's like that. And as you're saying,
right. Yeah. So I was only able to do 10 reps of each exercise, and I was done by the 3rd set came. But now I can go on. Mm-hmm. I can go on. Just go on. I have increased my repetitions to 25 per exercise. And I can go on for 100 reps without stopping. So it's kind of easy now.
And the breathing, the emphasis on the breathing. You want to tell them what I told you about the breathing?
I don't recollect that part.
Just to exhale everything out. Make sure you exhale all your air out when you squeeze, so that when you have a flat midsection. A lot of times people, they crunch, but there's still volume in the air in their diaphragm. And so then what ends up happening is they don't get a thin waist from the side, but they have abs, but they look like this from the side, instead of just, having the abs come in, come in like that. So blowing your air out, making sure it's all out, and making the contraction without any air in your diaphragm is really the way to get the most contraction. And that's what it's all about. You get the better contraction, you get better development.
Yeah, this is one thing I do recollect. And the second thing which I very prominently recollect is having lots of water, and not having lots of water in parts. You told me to chuck the water down as much as I can. And I was actually
in between.
Sorry?
In between. Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't know that. They may think you mean chug water with your food, but I told you that's a no-no.
That's a strict no-no. Yeah.
Yeah.
You told me that have 15 minutes before the meals, you should not have any liquids.
Yeah.
If you want to have liquids, have maximum 4 ounces of liquid in between your meal. And for the next 30 minutes after the meal, I'm not supposed to drink, so that I can let the body digest the food. And you also told me that I have to ensure that I chew up to the extent of liquefying the food in the mouth. Right. So that it can be digested really well.
Exactly. And how do you feel about that? Do you think it was beneficial? Do you think all these things, that they're small little things that you don't think they're important?
I guess this makes a tremendous difference. I was feeling bloated earlier. I was having digestion problems, and after I started chewing the food properly and giving a break, and having the maca root powder, the flaxseed and the hemp seed mixed together after the meal or before the meal, as we discussed, it was really helpful.
I've never done a video on maca root, and I know people are going to go crazy, but I save those for clients that I want them to get to get everything I can. So that's going to be, people are going to be like, what is that?
It was really difficult for me to find out maca root, but with a lot of struggle, we did get it online. It was really difficult to get our hands on organic maca root powder.
Yeah, and how do you feel about it? How does it make you feel?
Initially, it tasted really sour kind of thing, because it was a mix of a lot of seeds together. But I gradually started enjoying it. I mean, it helped me in keeping my stomach easy. I was not feeling any kind of burning sensation at all in my body.
Well, let me ask you, now that we work together and you want to continue us working together, what advice would you give to somebody else who's, a newcomer like you were? What advice do you have for the people who are going to watch this video?
I guess you should stick to the basics, and you should approach a coach like Ameen and nobody else, because that's how you sail through the process. You have to rely on somebody who is extremely reliable, who gives you time, who ensures that each thing is in order. Time makes a lot of difference. The way we spend time on the calls, I don't think I have spent time like this even with my closest of friends on the phone. And the way you explain how to have each substance in the body is, it's outstanding. I mean, I personally hands down on it.
So in a 1 to 10, 10 being the best as far as like value for your price, for what people get for what you got. 1 being you're totally dissatisfied, 10 being you're extremely happy. Where would you rate me?
11.
11.
Because we are not ending here. We as we spoke about this, we are not just ending here. We are moving to the next level, and we discussed about having more meetings. Meeting in person as well, and with your kind of training and coaching, you don't end up after a certain time period. You ensure that the client does get what they want consistently, even after the time is over for their training. So we enrolled for 3 months. That's what we, no, we enrolled for 4 months, but we are already ending up with 7 months and we are still discussing this. So you have ensured that I get what I want with the price that I have paid, which is, I feel it's very efficient and economical.
I really wanted to make sure that you got what you wanted. Like, I know what you wanted, and I knew that I could deliver it, and I knew that it was going to take communication, and we've done that. And I'm very happy that we're moving forward. Unfortunately, for the people who are watching this, the reason that I'm able to do this is because I don't take on very many clients this way. I am offering for beginners a different program. He took the express route because that's the only thing that was available at the time. Now I'm going to be putting up, it should be sometime in the next few days, different programs that you won't be able to talk to me as much. And so that's where I guess you could say, how much of a benefit do you place on the phone calls?
I guess phone calls are the quintessential part of the coaching process.
I think so.
There are certain things that may not be discussed over the mail or on the chat, wherein phone call makes a lot of difference. It takes your coaching to a different level.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely some, like, I mean, you weren't a beginner lifter. I mean, you had a base. You had been working out. You had a base. So you look good. So, but there are programs out there for people who have never worked out, personal trainers, people who've never worked out. But when you want to take it to that next level, you have to really consider, how long you want to take to get there. And if you want to do it in like a 4 or 5 month period, like we did, you have to put the time in. We spend a lot of time talking together, and I think that's what gave us the best results.
I guess we were on call every week.
Yeah.
In the later stages, and our calls never lasted for less than 60 minutes.
And we made quite a few changes in the diet. It wasn't just like follow this and that was it. I mean, I think
we made a hell lot of changes in the diet. We tweaked almost everything, and that's what consistency was. We were changing things consistently as per my need, the way my body wanted it. If it needed some reduction, we moved something out. If we needed something extra in terms of meat or veggies, we added 1 ounce of each of it. And that's how we tweaked around things. We reduced the carbs in first meal, moved on to the third meal. We tweaked around quite a lot.
You were very regular as far as the way your system was. Like, there was no constipation or anything. Everything was good.
No, everything went really well. After having the maca root powder, the flax seeds, and the hemp seed mix, I never felt anything wrong with the digestive system.
A lot of people use stuff like psyllium husk to get the fiber. But what they get with psyllium husk is artificial flavor, artificial sweetener, and then they also just get psyllium husk. Whereas with these other things, you get omegas. And so, I try to make, give you the fiber plus a lot of other things that are going to be helpful. Amino acids, there's just so many antioxidants, so many more things that you get than just plain psyllium husk. So I'll wrap this up until we get to Australia. Anything you want to tell anybody?
I guess we have spoken about it quite a lot, but it's been a great journey, and I'm really looking forward to see you in Australia, and I guess in Melbourne. That's where you're going to be in, for the Arnold Classics. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see you. And
I have a client, Michael Moses. I'm going to go ahead and give him a plug. He's done fantastic. He came in second last year. We're going for the win. We're going to get his pro card this year. This guy's done a fantastic job. Also, like you, I can't wait till good people that I work with meet together, because we all have one thing in common. We all have the desire to be the best.
Absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I really want to take it to the next level now. It's like one goal accomplished. Now let's accomplish another goal in terms of bodybuilding. So